I just shot myself.
Do you really believe that garbage?
It's not about a believing, it's a matter of fact.
So you believe.
In any country, prison is where society sends its failures. But in this country, society itself is failing.
I'd like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
We won the evangelicals. We won with young. We won with old. We won with highly educated. We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated.
Grab him by the pussy.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Shut your mouth, because you don't know what you're talking about. Yes, I do.
Hold it, tough guy. I'm not afraid of physical. Hold it.
Don't sit there and tell me I'm not.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, "Fool me once, shame on you. You fool me, we can't get fooled again."
They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists. And some, I assume, are good people. Stand back and stand by.
Last thing was Olivia Gondak. It says that I wanted to eat her pussy. Olivia Gondak. I've never said that in my life to her. I would never do that. I'm happily married. I've got more than enough to eat at home. Thank you very much.
You got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Okay.
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible. I went to an Ivy League school. I'm very highly educated. I know words. I have the best words. We now have a gun on every table. We're ready to start shooting.
By the way, maybe you could inject some bleach in your arm, and that would take care of it. This is the same man.
Sarcastically.
That was...
Even though they're trying to impeach the son of a bitch. Can you believe that? You believe that? That's enough. Put down the mic.
Mr. President, are you worried about indictments coming down in this
I'd like to
investigation?
punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
If I may ask
Peter,
one other
go ahead.
question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's
Mr.
enough.
President, I was going to ask one other.
I don't want reality. I'm asking the question, which one is better? That's exactly what it is.
Got it on tape.
What a stupid son of a bitch.
I don't like words that hide the truth. I don't like words that conceal reality. I don't like euphemisms or euphemistic language. And American English is loaded with euphemisms because Americans have a lot of trouble dealing with reality. Americans have trouble facing the truth. So they invent a kind of a soft language to protect themselves from it. And it gets worse with every generation. For some reason, it just keeps getting worse.
How stupid are these politicians to allow this to happen?
Run your mouth. We can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Big guy.
Oh, stop it.
Is that your solution every poll?
No, sit down. Sorry, Eric. Sit down. Look at you.
you're saying it's a falsehood, and they're giving Sean Spicer, our press secretary, gave alternative facts. Alternative facts. Alternative facts. Alternative facts.
I ain't talking politics, I'm talking life.
I ain't talking politics, I'm talking life.
All right, here we go. It's another Tuesday, another TFP Politics Tuesday, TFP. This is Van Cat, and as always, I am joined with the world's most dangerous political panel. So last week was an explosive week, a crazy week in politics. A lot happened. Don't know if we have time for everything, but we're going to try to cover as much as we can. So the topic of today's show, episode 30, pretty much Sleepy Trump. Sleepy Trump, falling asleep in the courtroom. There's been a lot of things going on surrounding his court case.
Now, Sleepy Joe would say the unemployment rate in the great state of Ohio. No, you're in South Carolina. Joe, you're in South. They come up and you ever see the guy that no, it's South Carolina. It's not Ohio. Okay. And he goes, all right, Iowa? Did you say Iowa? No. No, he did that like 7 times. If I did that once, it would be the end of the road, right? Be the end of the road. They'd say Trump has lost it. They like to say that anyway, I guess, don't they?
Trump also had some problems with U.S. geography as well. During that same speech, he appeared to forget which state he was in, saying he was in Sioux Falls, which is located in South Dakota, while he was actually speaking from Sioux City, Iowa.
Well, thank you very much, and a very big hello to a place where we've done very well, Sioux Falls. Thank you very much, Sioux Falls. So Sioux City, let me ask you, how many people come from Sioux City?
I mean, Katty K, we've come to accept this from Donald Trump. He has a sort of a really, really flip relationship with the truth and facts. And I'm just speaking of fact. I'm not trying to be, I'll be accused of being nasty, but that's just the truth. If this was Joe Biden, what networks would be on a loop right now, playing it and then talking about perhaps having then a doctor on about his mental acuity? There is such a disconnect in reality here in terms of the two front runners.
These people are bad people. Oh, Sleepy Joe. Well, he's running tomorrow. No, but could you imagine if I said just a small fraction of the mistakes he makes, which are unbelievable, every speech?
Donald Trump fell asleep in court yesterday. For all of the Sleepy Joe hiding in his basement nonsense, these absolute lies, everything that Donald Trump says, every accusation that he levels against someone else can just be turned right back around on him because he's projecting. He is the sleepy, slow-witted old man that he claims Joe Biden is.
All right, so it's day one of Donald Trump's first criminal trial, this one happening in Manhattan, New York. You will not believe what happens when this guy gets into the courtroom. This is according to Maggie Haberman at the New York Times. Trump appears to be sleeping. His head keeps dropping down and his mouth goes slack. So that we're clear, this is a guy whose entire re-election is predicated on his opponent, Joe Biden, being Sleepy Joe. Trump can't even stay awake during his own criminal trial. And by the way, if he can't stay awake during his own criminal trial, which for most of us would seem to be a momentous occasion, how's he going to stay awake if he needs to be in the Situation Room at 3 a.m.? How's he going to stay awake if a natural disaster hits an American city? Donald Trump is proving, as we speak, that he is not fit for president. He's also proving that maybe the guy needs a nap.
And 40 minutes ago, you wrote an observation that I was very surprised. Trump appears to be sleeping. His head keeps dropping down and his mouth goes slack. Tell us about that.
Well, Jake, he appeared to be asleep, and repeatedly his head would fall down. There have been other moments in other trials, like the E.G. Carroll trial, which was around the corner in January, where he appeared very still and seemed as if he might be sleeping, but then he would move. This time, he didn't pay attention to a note that his lawyer Todd Blanche passed him. His jaw kept falling on his chest, and his mouth kept going slack. Now, sometimes people do fall asleep during court proceedings, but it's notable given the intensity of this morning and a lot of what was being argued.
Yeah, that's rather surprising.
Well, Jake, he appeared to be asleep.
Donald Trump keeps on falling asleep at the Manhattan District Attorney criminal trial. It is day one. The jury has now entered the courtroom, and Donald Trump keeps on falling asleep. The Manhattan District Attorney criminal trial is against Donald Trump for his falsification of business records to interfere with the results of the 2016 election. Earlier in the day, the court disposed of a number of frivolous motions that were filed by Donald Trump, including another effort by Trump and Trump's lawyers to try to recuse him, to try to recuse the presiding judge, Justice Merchan. That was rejected. Maggie Haberman, who first reported, Trump appears to be sleeping, his head keeps dropping down, and his mouth goes slack. And then later in the afternoon, when the jury arrived, Donald Trump continued to fall asleep. And this had happened throughout the day. Katie Fang reported, as Judge Merchan is explaining that the burden of proof is on the prosecution and that the standard is beyond a reasonable doubt, Trump's eyes are closed. He might be thinking or sleeping, but his eyes are shut. And folks, we're not talking about his eyes being shut for just a few seconds. We're talking about his eyes being shut for several minutes, full-fledged sleeping taking place.
Is essentially what is happening here. Because if you remember, he was touting, going on and on and on about, oh, Biden is this and Biden is Sleepy Joe, and this whole thing of the ageism, and not to say that he's not too far off from where Biden's age is too. So I just find it so ironic that he's making it seem like he's like 20 years younger than Biden. But I digress. Here we are now where we have court proceedings and you're in court trying to literally fight for your absolute political rights at this point. And you're actually asleep during the proceedings. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. These court proceedings are hella boring, and they go on and on. They talk about all these stuff. But this is you fighting for your political life, and you're asleep, Sleepy Don. And another faux pas. When you're doing a campaign trail, I don't care if it's a campaign trail or you're doing when these artists go out and they sing songs or whatnot, and they're like, shout out to Minneapolis, but you're in Chicago. Yeah, you need to know which city you're in. Like, don't be just shouting out random names. Like, it's embarrassing. You know what I'm how do you mix up Sioux Falls and Sioux City? Like, I don't get it. But, this is why you have people that you hire that do this kind of thing for you. Like, they are supposed to be there to tell you, hey, sir, this is what you're supposed to say. But you know what the problem with him is? He does not listen. This has always been a trait of this man since he's been in political power. He doesn't listen at all. So it wouldn't have made a difference because he would have said all this or spew all this nonsense that you always will spew and think he will get away with it. No, it's going to show your age, sir. That's what you're literally doing right now. But continue, because again, I grab my popcorn and I'm just going to get the most stubborn butter pause out there, and I'm just gonna eat my popcorn and just sit back and relax and wait until November, because I want to see there's so much more to come, and this is just the beginning. So let's get rocking with the show.
I mean, it's not surprising. The man is 70-something years old. I mean, what do we expect from this person? I mean, of course he's gonna fall asleep.
Yes. Yes, MD. Are you saying he's an old man? Oh my God.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I mean, I expect him to take naps throughout the day. Ain't that what old people do?
you're calling him an old fart at this point. I'm just shocked, MD. Where is your political
Hey, it is what it is, man. Yeah,
But what about all those comments he made on Bush about him being low energy, on obviously Sleepy Joe with Joe Biden, Little Marco, all these things he said about all these other political rivals. I mean, every time he says something, it's really him that he puts on others.
You're right. You're right. So basically what you're saying, Van Cat, is it's a sense of projectionism in terms of trying to make light or make fun of a person when in actuality you go through pretty much the same thing. I get it.
Yep.
I can understand it. But hey, as far as I know, I ain't heard nobody talk about Biden going up and through the West Wing of the White House farting. Now I ain't heard that.
Speaking of which, we might as well get into it.
So today we're here in a bipartisan fashion to show leadership in an effort to end this senseless violence. It can be ended. So today we're here in a bipartisan fashion to show leadership in an effort to end this senseless violence. It can be ended. And I'm sitting here for days now, from morning till night, in that freezing room, freezing.
While Donald Trump complains about the thermostat, his criminal trial reportedly has had an awful smell. Thanks to him.
Donald Trump is actually farting in the courtroom, and that it's very stinky around him. It's a putrid odor in the courtroom, and that Trump's lawyers are like repulsed by the scent and the smell.
According to the Midas Touch, this has happened repeatedly.
You know, we have good sources there. And I'm hearing it from actual credible people that as he's kind of falling asleep, he is actually passing gas, and that his lawyers are really struggling with the smell. I think you'll actually start to hear more of that, but real credible people who are there saying that it's putrid around him.
You're only allowed a small amount of water when they take a shower. That's why rich people from Beverly Hills, generally speaking, don't smell so good,
Months ago in California, it sounded like a joke about water restrictions. But regarding rich people not smelling so good, it's now possible Trump was projecting. According to former Republican House lawmaker Adam Kinzinger, quote, "I am genuinely surprised how people close to Trump haven't talked about the odor. It's truly something to behold. Wear a mask if you can." For years, Trump has reportedly suffered from incontinence. In 2018, during a bipartisan meeting on gun violence, the microphones picked up the sound of Trump farting.
So today
Did you hear that? Here it is again, and watch Senator Feinstein's reaction.
So today we're here in a bipartisan fashion to show leadership in an effort to end this senseless violence. It can be ended.
Noel Kessler, a former staffer on the Trump TV show The Apprentice, recently told Midas Touch Network that the Trump incontinence and odor was a frequent issue.
He's worn diapers since probably the 90s, but I saw it firsthand in the 2000s on Celebrity Apprentice in late 2000s, and we'd have to stop the show and change him, and that was Keith Schiller's job. He would take him off set, he would wipe him down. Our nickname for Keith was Wet Wipes. It's not a joke. It's happened several times.
Kessler told Midas Touch Network that one of the triggers was Trump losing his temper.
One time there was the word arbitrage on a cue card, and he started screaming that the script department was setting him up. "You're setting me up!" And he just freaked out and then very loudly evacuated his bowels, and you could smell it, and the guy who was holding the boom mic, was tearing up. So that's where the nickname, the SHIT show, came from. That was the crew nickname for Celebrity Apprentice.
On the weekend before Christmas, the #1 trending story in politics was Trump smells. And naturally, the Lincoln Project got in on the action with this.
claiming the former president smells bad.
The dog has a distinct smell. It's like body odor with kind of like a scented makeup product.
Donald, is that you?
So Donald Trump allegedly has an odor problem, and now he has been spewing his flatulence in court. To be clear, incontinence or any other condition is not something any of us should laugh at or mock. But Donald Trump has ridiculed countless people for their afflictions. So there is some poetic justice here.
The dog has a distinct smell that doesn't really get enough press. It's like body odor with kind of like a scented makeup products, but you can smell the hair products even outdoors. Don't make that face. I'm just being honest. I know.
I don't know. Maybe somebody needs to make a candle with that scent.
Yeah,
because that'll fly off the shelves. Right
off the shelves.
I'm genuinely surprised how people close to Trump haven't talked about the odor. It's truly something to behold. Wear a mask if you can. Then Donald Trump responded to that, and he had his team go after you and say, no, Kinzinger's the one who's smelly. And as Hillary Clinton said, if you could be baited by a tweet, how are you supposed to be expected to handle Vladimir Putin and other authoritarians? And Donald Trump clearly got baited by your tweet and your post. But let's just start with your post. The odor, the stench, the stink. How bad is it? What do you know about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not good. I mean, think about the best way to describe it. I've tried to take armpits, ketchup, like a butt, and kind of put it in a blender, and makeup, and put that all in a blender, and and you bottle that as a cologne. That's kind of that. But it's amazing. Like, I've been amazed that, everybody's just kind of learning about this now.
Donald Trump seems to attract people like himself who do this. Here's another example kind of what I'm hearing it looks like in the courtroom. But this is an example. This is Rudy Giuliani next to Jenna Ellis.
The answer,
point of order.
The answer that I gave you is they didn't bother to interview a single witness. Just like you, they don't want to know the truth. Single witness, single witness, single witness, single witness.
But the point is, don't pass this opportunity out, because it's a golden opportunity, because these people are farting into the future. And be careful, you got the solid but deadlies out there. You never know where they're coming from. But they said Rudy and Trump, they seem to announce where they are. So get your little fart sounds and mock this fat slob son of a bitch traitor.
What's that smell?
I don't know. Hey guys, look! What is that? It is some kind of odor. It is foul! It's a foul odor! Foul odor!
So today we're here in a bipartisan fashion to show...
So when you post something and then someone bigger than you, like Adam Kinzinger, confirm it? And years ago I posted about Trump being kicked out of Keen's Steakhouse in Manhattan, where I was eating with my father in 1983. Trump was not elderly. The smell was so fucking offensive that they finally had to ask him to leave. And he did leave, quietly, right by us, and it wafted us. Trump's been shitting all over himself for almost 40 fucking...
There you have it, folks. We'll keep you posted each step of the way. Again, it's going crazy viral.
Oh boy. All right. So there we go. Donald Trump. All right. So let's go to let's go to MD. Pick up where MD left off about farting in the Oval Office.
Okay, so quick story. So I knew somebody when I was in school. I knew somebody that had incontinence, right?
Okay.
He used to take like these I'm trying to think of what, like, have you ever heard of like the silicone husk pills? Have you ever heard of those?
The silicon what?
It's like it's a peel with like it's like a fiber peel almost, right?
Oh, okay. Oh yeah. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, but what it's designed to do is like expand. You know what I'm saying? Like in your intestines to like move stuff along, but at the same time keep it like regular and not,
Right.
you know, that's what it's designed to do.
Yes.
But as a result of that, as you eat throughout the day or whatnot, the silicone husk is like blocking it. So when you fart, it's putrid. It smells real bad. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If I was to put my doctor hat on, I would say maybe that's what it is. I'm not gonna make fun of him having incontinence if that's what he has allegedly. I don't know. I'm not gonna make fun of that.
And what about the flip side about what people are saying? That here's a man that makes a living on making fun of others, calling people dogs, calling people all kind of crazy names, and making fun of handicapped reporters, and all this stuff is in his history. So you still see it that way.
That and that's the issue that we face. Again, the beginning of the video clip pretty much summed it up. It's projection. That's exactly what it is. And it's sad that it's a large part of the demographic of the American society that don't see it that way. So what are we to say about those people? See, projection usually falls like dominoes in terms of like who's doing it. And this is a clear case. It's a clear case. You made a living during this campaign of proclaiming Sleepy Joe. And here you are in which may very well be the beginning of the downfall of your life as you know it, and you sitting in the courtroom dozing off. You know what I'm saying? Not only that, you just say the hell with it, you just gonna rip it right there in the courtroom. The hell with it. And then you make an excuse, say you can't get up. It's cold. You know what I mean? Dianne Feinstein, rest her soul. That probably was the beginning of the end when you ripped it right next to her.
And another fact, I just want to say real quick. So, in the tweet that Adam Kinzinger said, saying that Trump smells, Trump had his team send out a reply, an official press release, saying that Adam Kinzinger was actually the one that farted on TV. Everybody that's ran with that tried to find an instant or video or an event where Adam Kinzinger farted on TV. They could not find it. However, we've seen just in that video, Trump actually farted on TV live. So again, the projection is deep.
Not only that, he made a face to express that he was about to do it. He said, but you can hear the little faint grunt that he made before he did it. Dianne Feinstein looking like, what the hell? And Rudy Giuliani, his fart, I thought it was Pac-Man eating a pellet. Like, what the hell? I was like, what the hell kind of fart was? Hey man, at the end of the day, we all do it.
Giuliani's just ruthless with it, though. I mean, God damn.
But yeah, we all do it, but it's like, Lord, like, have some decorum, though, man. Like, you are running for presidency. You can't even fart a certain way and it doesn't come back to you. Like, it's that big of a deal. You know what I'm saying? These are the same. Lest we forget that this is the same political spectrum that had a field day or was upset when Obama wore a brown looking suit, for crying out loud, because all presidents wore black suits. God forbid they wear a different color. It's that kind of nonsense. So they're not going to give him a pass for farting. No, sirree, Bob. You must know how to hold your flatulence, and you need to know the decorum of conducting yourself in a very precise and orderly way. You can't just fart your way through as the most powerful man in the free world. Oh, no, sir, you will not. You have some respect for yourself, damn it. And you don't fart in front of Feinstein, of all people. You, God bless her soul, but her face and the grunt that she did after, I was like, yeah, it must have been very putrid, because she was like, I'm not even going to acknowledge the fart, but my acknowledgement would be my grunt. No, sirree, Bob, Mr. Orange Blob 45, you have some respect for the house that you're sitting in, that, the black people built, that, you have some respect for the White House. You do not just fart your way through. Now, if you're going to fart, you fart at your own time, not in front of the American people. Don't you dare do it. Have some respect for us.
Yep.
Or at least do it to the point where don't nobody know where it came from. You can at least have that.
Blame it on the Secret Service guys.
Yeah.
So
you gotta train your ass to not, you know what I mean? To not do that. The silent but deadly. Sometimes, hey, look, hey, it may be 2 times the effect, but at least don't nobody know where it came from.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
So, Jeremy, are you on the panel?
Yeah, I'm here. So when your bum is leaking, you need to be seeking rocket pads. All right. It's the Don Nodder, aka Orange Glow, aka Top Carpet, aka Donald Dump. He strikes again. I'm not surprised. It's kind of funny that we're sitting here talking about farts and using the word flatulence, because flatulence is just a hilarious word. And every time I hear it, I have to hold back my giggle. But yeah, it came to him. I mean, he has, obviously done that to all kinds of people and said some horrific things. So it's coming back at him, and he's just as sleepy as Joe, so they can sleep together and nap together, tuck each other in maybe, and sing Rockabye Baby, and put their diapers on together, and they can regress back to where they're going to be, unfortunately. But they should not be in the White House, neither one of them, because clearly they are not cognitive enough to stop farting and sleeping. So that's what I got.
I guess, Mr. Jeremy, did you just say that they're one age away from wearing diapers? Did you?
No, they're there. They're there. They're both at diapers. They're both reverting back to their infant years. They definitely are. There's no doubt. They can be poop buddies together.
It is time to drain the damn swamp. We're also going to unleash American energy, including shale oil, natural gas,
people who've taken advantage of every single break in the tax code. And yes, when I was a senator, I did vote to close. Somebody like him should not be paying a lower tax rate than his secretary. It's that people like Donald who paid zero in taxes, zero for our vet, that is wrong.
But also in that trial, around that trial when it first started, there was another event that happened. It was outside the courthouse where a gentleman lit himself on fire. Let's see that in a moment.
We begin tonight with that breaking news from Lower Manhattan. Emergency crews rushed to a park just across the street from the courthouse with fire extinguishers to douse the flames engulfing a 37-year-old man. After burning for several minutes, he was carried away on a stretcher and taken to the hospital in critical condition. It does not appear the incident has anything to do with the trial of the former president, which continued on without interruption. Authorities say the man was carrying colorful pamphlets that were full of anti-government conspiracies. They don't believe he was targeting any particular person or group. CBS's Jerika Duncan will start us off tonight with the latest details.
And we're like yelling to the cops who are all outside of the park.
I don't know if he was really political or just unbalanced.
Authorities confirm 37-year-old Maxwell Azzarello is from St. Augustine, Florida. Tonight, officials say he is intubated and in critical condition.
He throws the pamphlets throughout the park, and then he pulls out a canister and pours some kind of liquid on himself. Court officers, members of the police department, they run into the park. They make efforts to put him out.
How concerned are you that somebody was able to get this far in, light themselves on fire? Is that with all of these law enforcement officials around?
We're very concerned. Of course, we're going to review our security protocols.
Azzarello posted what he called the Ponzi papers online, critical of both Republicans and Democrats, claiming, quote, "We are victims of a totalitarian con that is about to hit us with an apocalyptic fascist world coup."
This gentleman did not breach the security protocols. The park was open to the public.
We've learned that the man who set himself on fire has died.
That horrific scene took place as jury selection in the ex-president's trial had just wrapped up.
All right. So there's that story on the guy setting himself on fire. And just like Bones said, yeah, this is another whole person setting themselves on fire just this year alone for a political or benefit of some sort of cause that they believe in. And of course, Bones thinking exactly what I was thinking. Had to be a Florida guy. Like, my goodness, it had to be Florida.
Yes, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate in the sense that people believe in these falsehoods of what they think is the reality when in actuality they don't know not even a fraction of how the policies are being dealt with. You know what I'm saying? I mean, unfortunately, you could say that same thing about the situation in Washington with the guy setting himself on fire about the Israel-Gaza situation. The cause is noble, don't you know? And depending on which way you look at it, it may be noble in this case too. But you can't be so extreme to the point where you think this is going to garner influence for whatever stand you're trying to take, because it's not. Because society or government or whatever you think is the situation going to roll on with or without you. And you not having the wherewithal to politically move in a way that you deem fit is the issue with a lot of us. You know what I mean? When this story first came out, like I said, I thought it was a megamaniac. You know, I was just putting two and two together. You know, come to find out, he's not trying to deal with the government, period. There's a lot of people that think the same way that he does. Again, look at a book like the Turner Diaries. It'll give you a clear-cut examination of what some of these people think. And it's all, for the most part, it's all based on some type of underlying ideology in which they put themselves in the position of power and not the government. See, that's the part they won't tell you. Ain't nobody just going out and saying, screw the government, you know, it's all systematic and, you know, we set to fail either way. Well, okay, if that's the case, and we put you in charge, then what? They ain't never got an answer, because you know what it is. It's just another set of a formulative insertion of power. And they won't tell you what type of power that is. But there's plenty of evidence, there's plenty of references that you can go to showing you what they truly want. So a lot of this stuff is just based off of fear that they don't even understand most of the time. And it's unfortunate that we can't be politically astute enough to realize what's what. It's unfortunate.
It's one of those things where, and I think I believe I mentioned this last week as well, but where it's very poignant when someone lights themselves on fire, because it's one, you're trying to make a political point, or two, you're just doing it for attention, or three, you have some psychological issue. But with that being stated, it's not the first time we've seen this kind of thing transpire where people light themselves on fire for various causes. I mean, we saw the one in front of the Israeli consulate not too long before this one occurred. And then, if you're looking back in history, it's been the case for like a lot of Asian protests, especially Buddhists. They have a tendency to be lighting themselves on fire. I hope this trend does not catch on, though. That's the one thing I will, will hope doesn't take precedence at any point in time, because my God, it's so traumatizing to watch. But yeah, it was very crazy to hear the story and to see it like happen in real time. I believe it was MD that shared the story when I was able to see it or view it. But nonetheless, it's still very frightening and scary to witness. And to think that this person is a Democratic person or a voter is another story. I'm not quite sure why, what was the point of all of that. I know we've yet to find out, but hopefully we do. But yeah, it's a little crazy nonetheless. It's not one of those things you want to see outright, but in the age of real time news and fads and stories and all of that, that would have made a headline.
Well, first and foremost, my heart and my prayers go out to his family for having to bury someone that they love. It's never easy, especially if you're close to them. It's saddening to see the mind and where people have gone. I mean, you're not going to, you're gone after that. There's nothing you can do after. So why off yourself? It never makes sense. Clearly something paranoia could have kicked in with him. Who knows? But the man clearly was troubled. There's no way, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's no way you set yourself on fire, you're not troubled. For people to dismiss him as conspiracy, crazy, lunatic, like, dig a little deeper before you just throw a label on him. That's all I would suggest in this matter.
So MD made a great point just a moment ago about this situation where you have individuals that may be missing certain information about subject or scenarios, and they have maybe the wrong information or not enough information, and they're full in on a certain way of thinking that could be destructive to themselves. All parties involved didn't know what the hell was really going on. But even with that in mind, one of the parties took it to the extreme. Let's take a look at this video.
Is this the old guy getting scammed? Oh man, yeah, I got so much to say about this.
All right, here we go.
We're going to turn now to the tragic story. This one out of Ohio. Deadly encounter between two people who did not know each other and were both victims of phone scammers. Victim one, 81-year-old William Brock, received threatening calls last month saying his family was in danger and demanding money. And then the scammers also called an Uber driver, Lolitha Hall, to pick up a package from Brock's home. Brock then confronted her with a gun, believing that she was connected to the threats he'd been receiving, and now he is charged with Hall's murder. Lilia Luciano has this story, and we have to warn you, the video is disturbing.
Lolitha Hall screamed for help as William Brock confronted her with a gun.
I know what you're after.
But as the Uber driver tried to flee, police say the 81-year-old resident shot her multiple times. And then he called 911.
Well, I shot her in the leg first time, and I shot her in the shoulder.
Why did you do that?
Because I was threatened that she was going to come and kill me.
The county sheriff's office says Brock was the subject of a scam call concerning an incarcerated relative, which turned to threats and a demand for money. Police say Hall, the driver, was also contacted either by the same scammer or an accomplice to pick up a package from Brock's residence through the Uber app.
The guy on the phone center here.
Okay. So the male on the phone was trying to get money from you, and she was knocking on the door at the same time?
Yes, and he was telling me he was going to Killed me and the family and everybody else around.
Hall, who was 61, died from her injuries in the hospital. Police say she made no threats or assaults towards Brock before the shooting, other than to ask about the package she was sent to retrieve. They also say Brock took her cell phone and refused to let her leave. Last week, Brock was charged with felony murder, and now he could face 15 years to life behind bars, plus a $15,000 fine. He has pleaded not guilty.
What does the prosecution need to prove in this case?
That Brock knew he was using deadly force. And what the prosecution is going to say is there is just no reason to shoot 3 times when somebody is trying to leave your property. If somebody is trying to flee, almost by definition, they are no longer posing a threat.
Tonight, the new and difficult images of what played out after he shot and killed her. 81-year-old William Brock, seen moments after he shot 61-year-old Lolitha Hall, telling Clark County deputies he had received a call from someone demanding $12,000 for bail money for a relative of his. It was a scam.
I've been on this phone for a couple hours with this guy trying to say he had a nephew in jail and had a wreck in Charleston and just kept hanging on and needing bond money, and what this woman was supposed to.
Authorities believe the same scammers targeted the Uber driver through the app, hiring her to pick up a package from Brock's home without telling her what they told him. That unsuspecting Uber driver was instead confronted at gunpoint. She attempts to get in her car to get to safety, but the homeowner prevents her from leaving, shooting her 3 times, then calling 911. She died from her injuries. In this newly released video tonight, you can hear a man believed to be the scammer calling the home again, right while investigators were there.
May I ask you who I'm talking to?
Yes, this is the officer speaking.
Okay, what officer?
Yes.
No, I need to know what officer, sir.
You're going to be in trouble.
Okay. Let me ask you this. The female you sent over here, you know who she is?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well, she's been in an accident. And this is actually an officer. It's Detective Cruz with the Clark County Sheriff's Office.
And David, during that exchange, the alleged scammer agreed to meet with authorities but never showed up. They have not been caught. Brock, who's been charged with murder, has pleaded not guilty.
Yeah. So I'm not going to be the one that's saying that it's unfortunate for both parties. I'm not going to do that. Based on the fact that this man stalked and then maliciously killed that woman, point blank, period. I don't care what the circumstances were prior to that. He stalked that woman is what he did. I've been hearing, and X is a cesspool at this point. You know, he used to be my most favorite social media conduit. Now, hell, Twitter is like the dark web now, unfortunately, since Elon Musk has bought it. You got all these people talking about, castle doctrine. Yeah, it's unfortunate for her, but legally, he wasn't. Anybody knows what the castle doctrine is. The castle doctrine is only acceptable when there's forcible entry into your house, which there was not. The lady knocked on the door, and then you falsely imprisoned the woman by taking possessions that she had and not letting her go. Then you shot in the leg, then you stalked her, and then you gave the killing blow. This man deserved to die in jail for the little remaining couple of days that he got left. Not around friends nor family when he passed away. Point blank, period. I don't care what the situation is. Even if they had ill intent on whatever situation that they had going, you can't maliciously kill somebody. You can't do it. And that's exactly what he did. So to hell with him and being sympathetic with him, he did what he did. He deserves to die in prison. And that's just what it is. Now the people that was trying to set forth the scam, ain't no telling where they at. And that's another issue. We got all these intel capabilities. Just talked about FISA last week. Why not expand FISA to these damn scammers in New Delhi and all these places? Why not expand it to that? If y'all truly cared about the security of the American people, expand the Federal Intel Security Act to these damn scammers talking about PayPal and Cash App and all of that. Expand it. It's ridiculous at this point what these scammers are hell, you can essentially say are being uh given the green light to do. It's ridiculous. So nip it in the bud and federally charge these people that's doing it. Put their ass in Guantanamo Bay if you need to. So I'm over it. I know I don't show any remorse to this old ass man for doing what he did because it was under malicious intent. Point blank. Period. He need to go to jail and die.
This man literally said, you know, you after you shot her 3 times, you then not only stop her from leaving, the first time you shot her 3 times, and then you call the police after. This seems very like and I'm gonna go. I know I shouldn't be doing this. Delving into it, it seems like this is something that he thought he was gonna get away with by just like using, you know, and I hate to use that term, the I am such and such card. You can't do that, sir. That's just irresponsible behavior. Not only is this woman 61, she's just as almost as old as you are. So what make it make sense to me, what harm was she going to be doing to you when she showed up to your house and said she had a package? Again, in the newsreel, the same thing I said, the same thing is what the newscaster mentioned. If the person is leaving the vicinity of your property, why on earth would you still be trying to shoot? They're leaving, they're fleeing. But then again, I mean, like there's so many spectrums that you could look at, you know, different observable aspects that you could look at in terms of how this all panned out. But again, she is just as old as he was, and I'm not saying that she's old, frail, old. But Lord, what is this woman gonna do to you, sir? Like you took out the gun and shot her. Not only did you shoot her in the foot, you said you shot her in her shoulder 3 times. That's a bit excessive. I can understand you shooting once. I'm praying to God. I hope people are, you know, being more responsible when it comes to certain things. This is not a joke. Like scamming and swatting and all of that. There's a time and place for it. But when people are going to lose their lives over irresponsibility, that's when we're going to have to start making laws and putting them in place so it doesn't get out of hand and get escalated to this point where an innocent lady who is in her 60s lose her life, you know, trying to do her job. Like she should not even been in that situation, but here we are talking about it now. It's just sad all around, man. Just disgraceful.
The humanity is gone. The value of life is gone from the society. And that old man, I agree 100% with both MD and Ricardo, should be in prison, and he should stay his remaining days there. He clearly did it with no remorse. He clearly did it intentionally. He was calm, cool, and collective. This is what happens when you have a deterioration of the mind, a deterioration of value for life. And this is what we see routinely. I mean, an older person, though, 2 older people is surprising. I'm not going to lie. That's surprising because they were raised differently than most of us, at least in these generations. So you would think that they have an appreciation for life, but then again, can we really be shocked anymore? The scammers, rotten people. If they would, you know, use that creativity to benefit people rather than take advantage of people, just imagine how far they would get. I say that about everyone who is in that, but that's for a whole nother topic in itself. 2 older people and the fear that was in this poor woman's voice and just the look of sheer terror. It's it's disgusting. It's so disheartening.
Jesus. All right. Well, All right, so I have a few things I want to say. I'm going to try to make it really quick. Number one, I watch all the time on YouTube. Anyone out there listening, you can look it up yourself. There are people who are so good at computers that they catch the scammers. They go in the computer, they actually find out information on the scammers, regardless of what country they're in. If these people can do it, the government can do it. The government doesn't care because old white people don't care. And now I know that might have sounded racist or might have sounded a little prejudiced. It's not. If you know anything about this government, it only moves when old white people move because old white people vote. So the second old white people come together and they decide this is going to be something, it'll be something. So we need to rally those, the old whites that have the MAGA hats and the old whites that don't have the MAGA hats. Get them together, tell them that they're coming after their pension, and maybe they'll do something. That's one topic. Number two, I believe it was Jeremy who said that they were from a different time and he didn't understand. And I do. That man came from a time where Negroes knew their place. And you don't walk up in my house, come to my door acting like you're going to do what you're going to tell me what to do when you're going to blah, 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 blah. I got my 6-shooter and I'll put a darky down. That's what happened. That's what he did. I don't know if he was racist, but I know he had no problem waving a gun at a black woman and shot her dead and then called the police. That tells me a lot. Number three, I'm sorry. I was born in the 80s, okay? I remember hearing people say, oh, she only stole a bag of chips because she had to feed her kid. Or the old homeless guy, he just stole a can of cat food because he wanted to feed his cat. And I heard people go, well, it's against the law. I don't know what to tell you. You got to go to jail. Where the hell did all this leniency come from in this country? This country that's so happy to put people in jail, that's so happy to throw away the key, that's so happy to, what, he's 15? That Negro lifts weights. He's got to be an adult. Try him as an adult. Like, I don't understand where all this sympathy is coming from this old man. Like, I don't understand how people are, oh, well, he's old. We should just, no. Throw his ass in jail.
Exactly.
Let him get that pressure that everybody get. Let him get those raccoon eyes, if you know what that means. I'm not gonna tell you, go look it up yourself. Let him feel that pressure. Because I guarantee you, he go to jail and he start finding out what a real scammer look like, he gonna change his attitude. And if he don't, he gonna be somebody's girlfriend. He ain't gonna care anymore. He gonna be worrying about chapstick and mixing chapstick with Kool-Aid to keep his lips perky and colorful. So throw his ass in jail, throw away the key, throw him in there with all the white collar crime, the blue collar crime, where they all belong. I don't want to hear this sympathy. Where the hell did this come from? They have kids in jail for dating a girl when he was 16 and she was 14, and then they dated for 2 years, and then the parent didn't like him, so he got thrown in jail. If that could happen to him, why the hell should I care about a man that shot an old lady? Get your ass in jail, sit down, cross a PC, and I hope the dudes at PC take a piece of your booty too. That's how I feel, point blank, period. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Extraordinaire.
She just said a terrible thing. You know what she said? Shout it out, because I don't want to. Okay, you're not allowed to say, and I never expect to hear that from you again. She said, I never expect to hear that from you again. She said he's. That's terrible. Terrible.